Welcome back, guys, as we review episode 4 of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Please like and subscribe and comment down below.
Okay, so my initial thoughts on the episode is like this was like a standout episode. I really thought this was going to be a filler episode because lots of TV shows have like this thing where they do something sort of dramatic, and the last episode was pretty dramatic. We were in Magic Horror, and we're introducing this new idea of a power broker like really being powerful. You're bringing in another really big character back into the mix, and so I thought, okay, this is going to be a filler episode. This is going to be a setup for the ending. Like, we're not going to see anything, and man, did they just like punch you in the face with the excitement the entire episode. Like they keep you interested from the jump. Like as soon as we get into it, we're like, okay, what's going on here? And, like, we're picking up with the Wakanda lady, and we're like, okay, we got a timetable. They're pushing the clock on this whole thing. Like it's a great beginning to an episode, and it's a great whole episode because we're seeing like what's coming. Like this almost felt like a finale episode.
Like if this was like season finale type of thing. I mean,
you walk
cliffhanger.
You walk away from it, and you're set up for what's going to happen in a movie now based on this episode. And we still got 2 episodes left, so like I'm excited about this episode for real.
Yeah.
Brandon?
Yeah, everything Brock says. I mean, it definitely the best episode of Disney TV. WandaVision, Falcon, best single episode so far.
Yeah, it had a lot of edge.
Yeah,
definitely had a lot of edge, and you felt like more connected to who the characters like actually are. I feel like because Bucky was a little raw, Sam was aggressive. But still compassionate, sort of like he's in his role, and then you see the rest of it sort of flesh out like it, sort of like you expect it to, but like accelerated. Like Cap's the new Cap is we already know he's kind of a dickhead, and he accelerates that, becomes more of a dickhead. We know that the bad guys are going to slow power creep toward being more evil, and we see that accelerated. Like there's a lot of good things that happen in this one episode that progress the story.
I have to agree. This was a great episode. I think I agree with you. It's the best episode of any kind of Marvel Disney TV show. This is the first time I really felt compelled. Like a lot of the beginning tie-ins from the earlier episodes, they kind of got tied into a knot in this episode, and it was really compelling. Because what I found interesting as I was watching the episode, I can't disagree with everyone. So I've got my own inner conflict about it. Like, I agree with, what's her name?
Carly.
I almost call her Christine. I can see her point of view. I can see Sam's point of view. I can see Nemo's point of view. What'd I say?
Nemo.
Yeah, we don't want to find Nemo in this. So I can agree. I can see Zemo's point of view and agree with it. I can also see New Cap. I can see his point of view a little bit. Just take in for situation when they go to talk with her. I can agree with New Cap. I mean, here you have a terrorist that just blew up a building and killed a lot of people.
You got to
go in and get her. Right? I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with what he wanted to do. There's also nothing wrong with what Sam wanted to do, even though they were counter to each other. That's what I liked about this. That everything was kind of counter to each other, and I can see the point of view of everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it didn't matter which way you go. I can see the good and the bad of that, and that was what was very interesting in this episode is that kind of conflict of everybody's choices. Now, by the end of the episode, when you see New Cap with the half bloody shield, it's kind of hard to, I guess, agree with it. But what I kind of felt watching that was, it was kind of a play, I guess, on modern society. Everybody's with their cell phones in his face. Okay, so here's a hypothetical question, which I felt kind of compelling. We were kind of blown away with it. We seen him become new dickhead Cap. If there were cell phones when Steve Rogers was first becoming Captain America, would the stoicism and the legend have ever existed when he's dropping hand grenades inside of tanks and blowing up a whole bunch of shit? You know what I mean? Like, this dude did straight up murder this guy in the middle of the streets, but that was...
Well, at least in this moment, it feels like he didn't just murder him in the street. He murdered him out of anger. Like, there's a little bit different. Like, I mean, they are bad guys, and, like, in the original Cap, he's going after the Nazis and he's going after bad guys, and he's doing something in the confines of war. And I mean, maybe you could like parallel that with like terrorist activity that he's going with in the confines of war. But like, I think that if a guy was at that point like giving up, like the traditional Cap would, or the only Cap would have taken mercy, taken a captive, short of somebody like Red Skull, where there was, there's no mercy, there's no chance. He's like holding back, and it's a fight to the death. Like I think that at that point, like he's not going to, purposely murder him on the spot.
Yeah, we can think so, but I mean, he could be portrayed. I mean, he did. We saw him blow up a lot of people and kill a lot of people just in First Avenger, and if it could have been easily portrayed as a bad thing. Now, granted, Steve Rogers never had a bloody shield from what I assume is a decapitated head, right?
Yeah.
And I guess to your point, a very similar situation in Civil War when Cap's holding the shield above Tony. Well, he didn't go for Tony's head. He went for the arc reactor and deactivated him. Well, this Captain America went for the head. he took Thanos' advice there. He went for the head. He just straight up cut that dude's head off with the shield, which was an awesome visual. Yeah, and it's very gray. It's not like what you said with Steve Rogers where we're fighting Nazis. It's black and white, right? And it's not black and white anymore. It's very similar to, Carl was saying, we don't live in a black and white world anymore. It's a very gray world.
Well, I mean, they do a good job of like trying to humanize that aspect of, like they bring her in and they show that there's another aspect of the story, and she's not, she's not satisfied with the status quo. And even somebody, and I suppose that's where we're getting the initial story from Sam and the boat, like how that ties into like he's got like a conflict with how society is too, and so he can empathize because even though he's an Avenger essentially, or a lesser Avenger, however you want to call it, like he's got like this still financial struggles, and he's going through the same sort of problems that these. What they didn't call
refugees. Well, they didn't like being called refugees.
Whatever they like, people live in displaced or something. Yeah. Whatever they call themselves. So like he's got like this connection. It's still strange to see that like in that moment, like there's always some wonky stuff like in the writing. Like why is he not having an earbud in? Why is he not communicating with? Why is somebody not listening in on that conversation he's having with Carly? In that one scenario. Like, that would have been like, oh, okay, he's going to talk to her. Maybe they don't want to have any electronics on him. Like, I get that. But the second time when they go with Battlestar and New Cap go in and they're not communicating and they don't have any kind of communication equipment on them, it's like, what century are we living in? Nowadays, like, tactical people would always carry, some sort of radio and constantly be in communication and be moving together. Even if they did get, ambushed, like, they would still be in communication until they rip that thing out of his ear, and why don't they just take that extra, 3 seconds to do that, and then I don't have that concern, like, why are we not communicating? Why do we not have electronics? These are still, government employees, highest level of private contractor essentially for the United States government. Why don't they have all the best toys? Like he's got a $10 million shield. Like why can't we have like a $30 headset?
Yeah, your top Captain America would have more than just a pistol, one magazine, and a shield. Yeah. I mean, because you got Falcon with his little wrist thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got all that stuff on it. So yeah, there's some nitpicky stuff. I liked seeing how the episode started with Bucky and Wakanda.
You're recovering from this brainwashing,
and we finally kind of resolved one of my earlier complaints. We got to see him be a badass.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, here's another serum person that take him on. I mean, he just straight dominated him. And we got to see him be the predator that he really was, which was satisfying. So there's a lot of satisfying stuff.
Oh yeah,
all the characters were
super
satisfying.
nice when he kicks the guy through the wall and he's like, "Stay there,
Yeah.
stay down."
Yeah.
That's like such a strong moment because it's like I'm still a good guy now, but I
kick your ass.
Yeah. I just kick the ever living hell out of you. Like that kind of thing. Like leave it be. Like don't challenge me again. And like we get to see him continue that throughout the whole fight instead of him being on the top of a truck and two people grab him and that be enough to shut down one of the best fighters and most powerful people in the in the world, especially at the current moment when everybody's like out or dead.
Yeah. What do we think of Zemo?
I'm loving him more. I love the actor. He's great. I'm loving the character and the evolution of it. He showed his wit, his smarts, his his abilities where he's not really hindered to achieve his goals. I wouldn't say use children, even though he did, but it's kind of a strong. But he's very strategic, and that came through that kind of Civil War Zemo, where he was very manipulative and could achieve his goals, not coming directly on, because he can't come on direct because he's just a human. I mean, he wants everybody to just be normal humans, and maybe that's so he can stay competitive, because he outsmarted everybody.
How much of a chance is there that because we see him hesitate over
That
the
he kept a
vials,
vial?
that he kept a vial?
I think there's zero chance.
Zero.
Yeah, he's way too much of an ideologue. I don't think he would ever take it.
Well, I mean, he did hesitate, and he did ask the question, so they plant that piece of the seed in your mind. But would he be willing to use it as a means to an end to get back in with the power broker to be able to offer that as something for sale, and have the only one, or if he'd had time, the only one, because apparently he leaves the one that New Cap takes.
I saw that more as savoring the moment. Like, he's like, oh, I can't wait to destroy this stuff. It was just kind of like, he was caught off guard. I mean, one, he just found it laying on the floor out of nowhere. So it kind of caught him off guard. And this is what I think it is. And he just kind of savoring the moment before he just Jolly Green Giants all over it.
No, I mean, I see that too as like a potential, but there's like for sure like a 1 second pause. And they're letting you know something at that point. They're like, what's going on? What's going on with him in that moment where he's got to pause? Is it just the saber, or is it like strategically deciding what he's going to do? Because he seems he's forth on everything. Like when he's getting the candy, and you see him using the candy to lure the kids in and make friends with them later. Like it's that whole same thing. Like the only thing that brings me any concern about that whole scenario is I thought that he was going to use the kids as the guide, and also to bait a trap. When he said that they were bad guys,
to separate them, use the kids to separate them,
or even use the kids to signal what was coming. Like let Carly and Spike Smashers know what's coming, and it's okay because I'm bringing them there. You protect me. I could have saw him like getting snatched by the Spike Smashers. That's what I really thought in the middle of the episode. I was like, he's going to get snatched by them, and then he'll become a gray figure behind them somehow. And he's still good, because, since he's missing now.
Yeah.
Now, I could see Zemo taking the last serum, because he does believe in himself more than anything else. So I think he would believe that if he was the only person that had the serum, it could be okay, because he wouldn't become what he says everyone that's on the sauce becomes. I could see that. But as long as, very Highlander, there could only be one. And I think that's the only time he would take the serum, is if you took all the other serum people out and he was the only person on the sauce. Because that would let him do what he wants to do more.
So there's like 7 plus Bucky plus the New Cap now.
Yeah.
Plus Isaiah, so there's like 9, 11, I can't do that.
And he definitely ignored Sam's question about Bucky. Like, well, what about Bucky?
Yeah,
he was like, all of them had to be killed. He just kind of sat there eating his Turkish delight. He was just like, I'm not going to answer that one.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's even a possibility.
Yeah.
They can't plant the idea that Bucky could die, I don't think, in the show, so they'd move past that one. It's a waste of because it's his show.
Well, and I think, you can't say Zemo would respect Bucky's, I guess, character development as a human in the show when he didn't even really trust Cap. But maybe he might trust Bucky more, since Cap volunteered to do this. Bucky was kidnapped and forced. So I can almost see in Zemo having some sympathy for Bucky, because it was against his will. Everything about Bucky was against his will. While Cap was just like, yeah, I'll take it on. I'll be this.
Well, I don't think Cap even understood what would end up being.
No.
So there's an innocence in Cap too, in that fact, because I mean they could be giving you like steroids for all he knew, and it ended up he's a super soldier and ages and heals and ages slow and heals and all that stuff. So who knows? I mean, I feel like there's still some innocence there, but anybody past Bucky, there's no innocence because you have like, I can be Cap. You have the assumption that you can become as good or that you would be as wise or as because the thing about Cap is that he was as a small person before and like became powerful. Like he understood what it was like to be a small guy and fought with a small guy and try to do everything right, rather than like be halfway capable and then assert authority on top of it, something like that. Like this Cap, like he's very competent and he wishes he could do better, but then that whole one line, we did things in Afghanistan that we weren't proud of doing, seems weird because like I know that people say that they do things that they're not proud of, and like you hear army men talking about that they had to do bad things, but I think at the end of the day, I think most of them know that the sacrifices and the actions they took were necessary, and they feel like they're necessary. They don't feel like they're evil. I don't know. It felt like what he did, he almost felt like it was evil from that sentence to me.
Yeah, and then, Battlestar saying, but how many more lives could we have saved if we had the serum? So it's almost like the bad things they did saved lives, but if they had the serum,
they wouldn't have had to do the bad things or as much of it.
Or as much,
yeah. Or that they look at it like that. They look at it as like it's a crutch. Like, this is the thing that can make me into a better person instead of this is the thing that gives me the, like I already am a good person and it gives me a little bit more ability. Like, this is the thing that would make me into a better person and not have to be as ruthless or as violent or, whatever, or however.
And then Zima talking about how it amplifies everything that's already within. And so maybe that's why Carly's, progressing into terrorism because, her anxiety and fear about all of it is being amplified by the serum. And then whatever, because Dick Cap is crazy already anyway. He's over there twitching and shit, before they go in and stuff and walking up the alleyway. If you watched him in the background, he's doing like this head twitch thing,
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about when he's looking at the clock, right before he's looking at the clock.
Well, he does it there too, but like when they're going to meet the kid the first time, and he gives him the candy when they're coming up that little alleyway or whatever there in between the buildings, he does this. And I mean, maybe it wasn't part of his character, and it was just something they caught on camera or whatever. But like he does this little head twitch thing, and then he's twitching again in that room when the boiler room or whatever.
Yeah, they probably set that. If it's a repeated action, they probably set that in there as a thing for the character to do.
And so, he takes the serum, and now whatever his tics are that are getting to him are just going to be,
I mean, he's done a really good job. Like, I cannot stand him as a character. He's done a great job of being like a full 2 Cap. Like, he's done an amazing job. Like, I can't stand him. I think he's dick. Like, they've done a really good job portraying and writing that part. Because, like, I mean, I don't think you're supposed to like him from how the show goes. And so, like, it's good that they can, like, put a fleshed out character out there that you're just like,
Well, he does a good job. I mean, shout out to Wyatt Russell for that. Good work. If we want to borrow some stuff from professional wrestling, he's a great heel. He's doing what a heel is supposed to do, and that is character design. And they did such a good job of where they didn't go overboard, where he's just a straight narcissistic dick right off the bat. Like,
he's a slow heel.
He's got some he's got some good points to him. He is a good soldier. He's just not Steve Rogers. So I guess when the weight comes down on it, he kind of cracked. And it was just kind of a bad combination of roid rage and his best friend getting murdered. He probably didn't know how to deal with roid rage yet. I mean, because obviously that serum worked pretty fast because he had taken it the night before.
Yeah, sometime.
And he just started stomping ass.
I bet we flash back and see that moment. I think we will because I really like I've in previous videos I've said I thought he was going to die, and apparently he's not going to die now since he's a new super soldier. But we see this other event that gives him a reason to not die. Like now he's going to have flipped and sort of take his power and his friend's the loss of his friend, and move into being like at least a dark gray character.
How about his body now? You know, his potty mouth, you know, because Cap used to get on Iron Man for cussing and stuff.
Oh, really?
And then, yeah, you remember in
Yeah.
Age of Ultron in the beginning, you know, Iron Man hits the force field and is like, shit, or whatever. And
He goes, language.
Cap's like, language. But this Cap just lets him fly.
Yeah. So, he's still not the main villain, though. I mean, is the Power Broker still the main villain that we haven't met yet?
I don't think. I mean, potentially. I mean,
do you think we even meet the Power Broker? Or do they just leave the Power Broker out there for some other episode or, you know, some other show or movie?
That's a little too much of a MacGuffin to just have this Power Broker in the background.
What if the Power Broker reveal is the season finale cliffhanger?
well, they could also. What's the other show that's about to come out?
Loki?
No. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Loki's the next show.
No, the new character Shang-Chi or whatever.
Shang-Chi.
Oh, the movie?
Shang-Chi. Yeah. Oh, that's a movie.
Yeah, that's going to be
Okay.
That's Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. So
Right,
it's
so it
supposed
should
to
be-
introduce the real Mandarin.
Yeah.
So I guess that's in around Madripoor, isn't it? Or
Well, I think in the comics he's based out of Hong Kong, but
Right.
I mean, they can change it. Because Madripoor is over in Indonesia, I think is what they said.
Yeah, it's not terribly far, but it's still
Yeah.
a little bit of distance. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
And it could be closer because it's a fake island, so I mean, it could be closer.
but I'm still setting her up as you know, Carter as the Power Broker. Like the language felt like something that she could easily say, and I mean, it could just be like spoofing that or like writing that in there.
Well,
The
She's
text.
got a lot of influence because I mean, she just walks past all those guards. You know,
Yeah.
no one even checks her.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
can call in satellites, and she's supposed to be on the run. I
Yeah.
mean, she does, but we kind of talked about the Power Broker existed prior to the blip, and prior to the blip, she was doing laundry down the hall from Steve Rogers.
Well, she was.
She was an intern.
She was still a shield agent. Like she could have been, you know,
I mean, maybe
a double agent then, or she could have been working, you know, for the Power Broker that got blipped, and then
I was
just
gonna say
came
Power
back.
broker blipped and she just stepped in.
And then when they come back, it's like, sorry, you've been on 5 years. This is my show.
Have we entertained the idea of Zemo being the Power Broker?
I think you said it last time.
I mean, there's a possibility, but I don't necessarily see it because the Power Broker funds the serum, and that's like, you know, at least
Did he fund? Well, yeah, because I guess you
Yeah,
could
so
say he
that-
was funding to create. Like I could see it if Zemo was the Power Broker trying to collect the serum to destroy it. I think it would be worth him as a baron and rich.
I think he would have just killed that scientist.
Right, but yeah, that's right because the scientists work for the Power Broker, so it's not
Yeah.
Zemo.
I mean, they could convolute even more and, you know, make Carter have worked for Zemo under the scenes, and then, you know, and then say that she stepped into his hole when he went to prison, not even the blip, because apparently he didn't go in the blip, so he was just in prison, and so she could have stepped into the hole, and then she could have stepped, you know, forward to, you know, be like, Super Soldier Serum would be great. I could use it, you know, change the world kind of thing. I mean, I don't think the Zemo is. I think that he's the great character on the outside. Or he's almost, for this little series, he's also almost like a Gandalf type character where he's powerful and he's outside of everything. I mean, Carter's kind of that same character, but
I think when the series wraps, he's on the lam.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because he's great. The actor's great. The character's great. You know, because like you said, he's not villainous. Because you can't. While you might disagree because he hurt our heroes in Civil War, you can't really disagree with his point of view. You can disagree about the way he went about it, and that's been kind of the thing with all the characters. I might not agree with the way they handled it. I agree with Sam that he'd want to talk with her. I don't agree with Sam that he wanted to be kind to her or open to that because she is a terrorist that just murdered a bunch of people, had nothing to do. Didn't cause the blip, didn't cause her no problems. It was just doctors and stuff in the building. So, you know, and you can, like I said, you could say that with all the characters, but, you know, with Zemo, you know, he's such an interesting, and that's what Marvel's missing is stuff on the other side of the hero line, whether they're gray or full villains. We don't have enough hanging around. The only one that really hung around for a long time is Loki. I mean, he's done a total face turn. He's a hero that everybody loves. We don't have any. Maybe right. He can always flip back, and that's the nature of his character. But we don't have anybody sitting on the other side. I mean, like who's the Marvel villain right now?
But remember, our Loki's dead, right? Our Loki's supposedly dead. I still think he might be alive. But then this Loki that we're following is the one that picked up the Tesseract, and that's right after the Battle of New York, and so he's at his worst.
Right, before he and Thor bonded, yeah.
Yeah.
before his redemption.
I think this will be super weird for this to be like in that time frame and not see any of the players that were still around then. You know, to see the original Cap, not to see Tony, not to see.
Yeah.
That'd be weird not to have like cameos, but I seriously doubt they're getting cameos out of those people.
No, I don't think they are.
What are your thoughts about the worst parts of the episode? Like, what do you think was like sort of almost cringeworthy? You got anything?
It sounds like you have something in mind.
I definitely got one. The whole when Battlestar dies and everybody stops fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is by far the most cringy thing in the world. Like even if they're shocked, like even if the bad guys are shocked because they killed somebody when they were going to kill somebody, why do the good guys stop fighting? You know.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why they don't have, you know, like.
And it wasn't like it was some major character. Like I mean, like that was real Cap that went down right there all of a sudden. Like I could see, you know, the heroes being like, whoa. Like, they don't know this fucking dude.
Or Falcon, or Rhodey, or somebody.
Anybody.
Somebody of the B status, B status importance, like go down because that's what he is supposed to be, is like a B status to the new Cap, but he's like a C status because you know the Cap's like a B status.
Battlestar only mattered to Dick Cap.
Yeah,
like any of the Avengers mattered to everybody.
Like I don't understand why they don't like.
And they were trying to kill him anyway. The Flag Smashers were trying to kill him, and one of them died, and they're like, "Oh shit, let's run while his back's turned."
and Carly runs right past him instead of like stabbing him in the neck as she runs past him.
That's what I thought she was about to do: is jump on his back like a spider monkey and start just stabbing the shit out of him. And she just took off running, like, "Oh my god, we pissed off the guy that we're trying to murder."
Yeah, I would have loved to see
because that was the plan, right? Let's murder Cap.
Falcon like pop into action, and maybe one of them or two of them scatter, and Carly get ran out by them, and they chase, and we get this Cap come out of his daze and go after this third guy.
Yeah, because I mean, unless Falcon's talk with Carly really, you know, changed her mind about just killing random people, and now she wants to just kill Cap. But even then, like, you killed this other dude with a star on his chest, and like, oh, y'all feel bad all of a sudden.
No, that's cheesy. That's of an episode that I entirely enjoyed, like 99.9%. This is the 1% where I'm just like,
yeah, I agree with it.
I mean, the other other half a percent is the radios. Like that's cheesy because you know whatever we've seen every tactical movie made in the last 20 years has stuff. In all the Avengers stuff, they talk in your ear all the time. They're always having conversations.
Is this the first like in action death, excluding Snap, in action death since Quicksilver?
That's a good question. I think it is the last
because you know Black Widow sacrifices herself. Gamora gets sacrificed. You know, so we haven't really seen another hero.
No, he's not a hero.
Well,
I mean, I guess he's a hero,
but die in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a long time. So that's Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, Battlestar.
I mean, I guess
you broke the streak.
It was time.
You can. I mean, she kept Tony though. I suppose.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of.
But
it's almost not the same because it's not. He like even though Quicksilver decides to catch those bullets to run in front of them, like I guess like Tony makes the decision to make the snap, and he knows that he's not powerful enough as a normal human to take it. You know, because we've seen. You know what Hulk not be able to take it, so of course he can't take it.
Yeah.
What about the Wakanda fight scene? What do you think about that?
I think it was good that he just spanked their ass.
How weird do you think it is that they put in a failsafe to control Bucky?
I don't think it's weird at all.
You don't think it's weird at all?
No.
I think it's weird that she had to physically do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, she had to like give him the Vulcan squeeze or whatever.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange to me. It felt like I don't.
Yeah, she should have been able to touch one of them beads or something and it just drop off, you know.
Well, either way, it's still like concerning. Like, I mean, the beads thing would be.
Well, you want his arm to be telepathically linked to her head?
No, I don't want that.
Yeah, like, I mean, she has to do something.
I want somebody else to not be able to assume control of the
his arm.
or somebody else to learn that pattern and be able to detach.
Zemo knows it.
Oh yeah, all you have to do is see it once.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a thing. Well, is he in the room when it happens?
I don't know.
I
don't know if he
already slip out of the bathroom.
Slipped out.
Yeah, because he closes the door, then he turns them to lock the doors or whatever is what it's doing. Nobody in that room is letting him move. like everybody in that room wants him more than they want each other. So I don't even understand why they let that happen. That's a like minor concern because I mean they would probably have to really fight their asses off, but like why do that? Like why let him move that way? Like you could have lost him, any other time.
Yeah, like the handcuff scene, any things. Yeah, he could. Yeah, without making them look incompetent or negligent, he could have escaped. Because it was just all right. We're just gonna bro down a little bit and turn our back on this. I mean, because according to the Queen's Guard or whatever they're called,
he's out of the room.
He's out of the room.
Zemo's out of the room when that happens.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, the arm falling off. That's not a glitch. That's not a feature I'd want in my arm. Because I wouldn't want it to glitch out like in the middle of a fight and your arm just fall off. Because
maybe Sam fixes it for him. He knows Stark Tech.
Yeah,
well, this is a little bit more complex than Stark Tech. This is
Wakanda Tech.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he can work on Smart Tech, but
How about they reference Zuri and but they don't
Shuri,
whatever. They reference her, but they don't reference T'Challa.
I think that's just because they're still trying to figure out what to do with T'Challa. I think there's some conflicts in Michael B. Jordan's contracts. Yeah, exactly.
We've got that figured out. Check out our previous video for content.
Where I was the only person that thinks it's a good idea.
No, I got like an admin to thinking it's a good idea. They just got to pull him from the multiverse.
They
but no.
So I heard where they had to like do some recuts and reshoots for this past episode because the woman that they hired to play the dead woman, like she had a bigger part and they cut all that out because it wasn't really pneumonia. It was some other virus because they got vaccines. They went and sold a bunch of vaccines because it was some other virus, but they redid it and said it was pneumonia because of COVID and all that. So I wonder if they're recutting and editing it. They just took T'Challa out.
I could see that too. But the thing that made it like not make sense to me on that is because they contact this scientist and ask him to help. If it's pneumonia, you're just going to the doctor. You're not contacting somebody. And if you die from pneumonia, it's like I don't know. That's weird that they would contact somebody so highly specialized and it not be some virus. That makes a lot of sense now that we're talking about that. And I'm sure that they may have already shot that scene and talked about T'Challa and redid that. Because
after Battlestar goes down,
why stop and then okay, so we get the moment of rage, like we get like the build for the finale because everything stopped. We know something is gonna happen, and I like as watching it, I'm thinking okay, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna show his tail a little bit. He's gonna beat this guy, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna beat the fuck out of him, not murder him.
And we're gonna see like we get all these people watching, so he's gonna like glance up and he's gonna come out of his red haze and he's gonna just be like,
no.
Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta watch. Like Bucky's gonna yell at him or take his arm off and throw it at him or something. Just anything to not let him just chop this dude repeatedly.
Well, they didn't really show up till the end, right? When he's standing there like heavy breath.
Yeah, it was already kind of over.
Yeah, and they come in and they just stand there and then he like shoves the shield back on. Like, yeah, fuck all y'all. I murdered it. What?
Yeah, blood straight dripping off that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, is that the worst optics that barring Hulk like tearing down a whole city? Is that the worst optics that that they've
Avengers
had?
have had?
Yeah. Probably so. I mean, because
he's not a part of the Avengers. He don't got the A on his shoulder. In case you're missing that, he's got a American flag.
But he's got an A right here on his strap.
Because
it's for America, but it's an A.
Yeah, but it's not Avengers A.
It's not Avengers A. None of them ever had an Avengers A, did they?
No, I can show you a screenshot.
I mean, I know they had it on the
Stark
Tower, yeah, but
they got it. They've got it on. I don't know which version or which outfit it is, but there's one where there's a meme going around that has like the not my Cap, and it's like Cap's got the A on it for Avengers, and he's got the American flag on there. So it's just one of those things where I've seen it, so it popped out at me.
Oh yeah, I think I do remember like in Civil War, or in in Endgame, or not Endgame, but
probably not Civil War. You think?
Yeah, he still had his Avengers outfit on, and then they went on the run because when I think I remember it is in Infinity War when they've been on the run and his suit's all damaged and dark, and I think I remember that day there.
Yeah, I think it's that darker version of the suit is the one I see it on.
Yeah,
And like I seriously didn't think that he was gonna straight murder this dude. In that I think that's probably like going to be the thing that is the most memorable about this series is the bloody cap shield. Like that's the thumbnail, the screenshot that people are going to like. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like,
when you look on YouTube and see all the reviews that say spoilers and they have the shield there with the blood on it. Yeah.
Dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be everywhere. So don't look if you don't want to see the spoilers. But hopefully everybody that was coming to listen to something like this or to watch any video on any of the stuff had already seen the episode first. Because I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody that's live reviewing it, and you can just watch them and then come watch us immediately afterwards.
And like and subscribe. The visual on it was really good, the way they shot that, because he literally sullied the shield and figuratively. You know what I mean? He sullied the entire identity of Captain America, not Steve Rogers.
I mean, when that dude hands him the shield at the beginning, we want someone that stands up for what America is, and then he just takes that dude's head off with it.
It's pretty bad. I think it's good though. I love the slow roll on the shot and in the nonchalant way he sticks the shield back on. It's just like okay.
Yeah, he was proud in his face when he put that shield back on. He was just like, "Yeah, I did that."
He felt like
he owned that moment.
Felt like he avenged his his fallen comrade, but like in the most visceral, in the moment like type of way. Like doesn't solve the bigger problem of 7+ super soldiers still out there. Like he solves the problem of not even the guy that actually killed his friend either. Like just somebody, just a body in front of him to murder.
Well, and now he feels accomplished too because he defeated a super soldier. Because when he in the battle against the Wakandans, he's all like laying on the floor. He won't even get up because they weren't super soldiers.
Yeah, he felt embarrassed.
Yeah, but now he's on the juice, and he was able to take one down, and not just take one down, but take them out.
And he doesn't have the restraint because Steve Rogers could have murdered a lot more people than he did. He had restraint. Like let's take GSP for example. What was that? That was at the beginning of.
That was WinterSoldier.
WinterSoldier, yeah. He could have easily killed him, didn't. But now this new Cap doesn't know how to restrain himself. He's gonna go full bore. So there's gonna be a lot of collateral damage, and he's gonna enjoy it. I mean, he enjoyed murdering that dude, and I get it. Someone kills my best friend in front of me, I would enjoy killing them. Might not be the best thing to do, but I am human. So you can enjoy that kind of revenge. The problem is and this kind of goes into what Zemo's talking about. When you give someone that kind of power, and then you can't stop them, and then they can participate in their indulgences, because this dude's backed up by the most powerful nation in the world, and he's on the sauce. And now he can murder people.
I just thought about this. Is that planting a seed for the arc of potentially where the entire thing's going? Because we've got Wanda
going dark Avengers.
Yeah, well, she's darker. She's got more power than she had before. Like, how is she going to be? And then we got this new or not even like the importance of how it impacts this individual thing. But we're planting the idea that somebody with this. That assumes it has this much power is going to be a negative force and negative impact. Like they could be planting seeds, across the story arc. I mean, it seems like a thing that they would try to start to do. And this is like we grab a hold, we gravitate toward, people assuming or grabbing onto more power than they need or should have, and how it it impacts and shapes them. So maybe we'll see this being something that starts to plant seeds toward the overall story. That'd be nice, but I mean, I'm not saying I think it is or will for sure, but I think that'd be nice if they do head that direction. Because I'd like to see, I'd like to see the shows be, at least in theory, impactful to what happens, not in like content, but like the messaging that comes out of the shows be impactful to the overall. Like, we could see them planting seeds for where the direction and where things are going now. On power level conversation, how ridiculous is it that the Wakanda people are so powerful?
Well, they drink that special tea, or is that only the Black Panther?
Yeah, it's only Panther.
And nobody else can drink it because they ruined that, and you can't even recast him really, or replace him because they don't have the tea to give to anybody else.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the Iron Panther.
Iron Panther.
Yeah.
Is that a thing or?
No, it's just going to be how they have to either they had some seeds stowed away just in case, or it's just Shuri's technology.
Yeah, warmonger.
Yeah.
Destroyed all that they visibly had in the little shrine or whatever. So that should be gone. But they're like super powerful because they're doing stuff like they're pulling their he's a bigger, stronger guy if nothing else, and he can't remove his shield off of the spear, and then the girl that's for sure smaller than him. Not even like the main one that gets rid of Bucky's arm, but the other girl just walks up and's like, pulls her crap out. It's always like some Wakanda, technology tied in.
I mean, it could be.
It could be on test.
It could be Wakanda technology that.
You don't think he's roided up? I mean, let's be real. I mean, he's not on the super soldier serum yet, but he's still like a buff dude versus.
I think hair loss is a side effect of female testosterone use.
I mean, it's vibranium.
So they're all really sauced, is what it is.
It's vibranium, right? So it absorbs all kinetic energy. So it makes sense that he can't pull it because it's absorbing that kinetic energy. But then they've got the technology. And they all have them beads on, and there's all kind of different tech stored in those beads. So maybe when they grab it, it allows them to be able to pull it and use it.
Okay. I mean, I can get behind if that's the way we want to explain it. It just seemed like even like them like kicking and punching those dudes. It seemed like, and they are very well trained warriors. I give them that, but it just seems like everybody in that room's well trained and very dangerous, and they're winning.
Well, they're the
super elite guard.
Yeah, the guards.
I'm okay
with 2 Avengers and 2 Special Forces guys. I mean, let's go.
Well, Bucky was holding back because he's friends with them. So
yeah, I mean, Bucky and Falcon are definitely running interference. Like, there's no doubt about that.
I could see them whooping non-roided Cap's ass. I have a problem with. My biggest problem as far as power levels, as far as combat goes, is Falcon holding his own against super soldiers. With his jetpack, and he's doing flippy kicks, and like he was whooping some of the flag smashers' asses.
But they're not trained fighters. They're just.
It looked like it with their damn twin knives coming at everybody, and fighting Bucky and fighting Wyatt. And
there's like a balance though, because some of them are like trained fighters, and you can tell because they're flipping around, and some of them are like, I'm a really powerful housewife, and I just happen to be able to pick up heavy things. It's kind of what it looks like. It doesn't look like that one girl where he's hitting her with the jetpack. She does not look like a very good fighter, because why not just smash that tech? Because she's strong enough to. All she do is put her hand on it.
And just grab the wing and rip it off.
I don't know, depending on what it's made out of.
True.
Vibranium, and maybe not, but.
No, everything's just made out of vibranium. They just
I don't think that's made out of. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it was.
You saw the mine in the bottom of the, where they're mining all the vibranium.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of vibranium, but I don't think America had a lot of it.
Oh, I don't think anything that the Avengers has is property of the United States anymore.
I just think they need to give Sam the sauce.
Well, I think his jetpack is because he was still turning it in to have them tune it in the beginning.
What?
Because he's like, every time you Air Force guys get your hands on it.
Not the jetpack, the little red thing is what they're tuning.
But it comes out of his jetpack.
Sure.
You don't think they had to turn it all in between missions?
Maybe, and that's just a throwaway line, maybe, because he didn't want the guy to touch it. And it may be something he was saying, like, in the past, before I got this new version of it.
Yeah.
So, I can find a way to make my argument work.
I don't think so, though, because they put the tracker in it. So, they've had it in between missions. Because they're not putting a tracker in it when he has a hold of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that, what's the new Cap's name?
Walker.
So when Walker and them are tracking Sam's stuff
through that,
and that's why he quit using it for a couple episodes, so it would be less trackable.
And isn't that kind of odd that you're going to leave your $20 million airplane wings in a shitty hotel? Like what, for the maid to find? I mean, like, where is he stashing his wings when he's out just cruising as Sam?
Well, it's a pretty nice hotel.
Yeah, that was.
It's got a.
That was like the Ritz.
It's got a escape hatch underneath the bathtub.
Under the toilet. Yeah, sewer grate.
So weird.
I mean, it was a straight manhole cover too. It wasn't even like a drain.
Yeah.
Well, that whole thing's weird. Like, they know that's in there, so they got to know that's in there. And they had to use the bathroom. Like, I mean, you don't have to show us in the bathroom to know the bathroom's there.
That or none of them took a bath.
Well, that is always an option.
Well, Bucky probably doesn't. His arm would rust.
Well, I mean, he can take it off.
Yeah. And does vibranium rust?
Probably not.
Who knows? Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
All in all, good episode though.
Awesome episode.
Very, very few complaints. It solved a lot of issues I had in earlier episodes. It progressed the story. It progressed all the characters. There were some, moments where it was, like you said, that they could have, the attention to detail they put in a lot of the other stuff, they could have put in some of those moments to kind of finish it,
Yeah, I hate that they don't put a little bit of more detail into those type of moments, because if you had that, you couldn't come in here and say anything bad, because it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's a perfect episode. Like, that does
it was really close.
Everything to progress the story. It does everything to set up stuff going forward. And now we get in this, like, big turmoil, because, like, there is, like, maybe you didn't like the Walker as Cap before, but you didn't have a real reason to not like him, but besides he's a dick. But now there's a real reason. Like, he does not represent anything close to what Cap was, and he's crossed, like, the ultimate line. So they've set that up to be the angle that it's at least pushed toward, because, I mean, he's a super soldier, so I don't know if he's going anywhere in the short term, but it does set it up.
I don't think so. I think I think he's going to be coming back
As Cap. Or as
no, I mean, he might be Cap through the end of this series. I mean, towards the end of the series. I don't think he'll be Cap at the end, but I think he'll come back as something else.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
I don't think he'll be part of the Thunderbolts now, because he's on the sauce, and Zemo hates the sauce.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be part of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Well, my hopes is, I like Walker as I like having. I don't like his character. I don't want to say that, but I like having him in the show. He's a great heel for the heroes, which what makes him a great character is that I don't like him. And if he sticks around or not, I'm okay either way. I just want Zemo to make it out of this series and be a more recurring role. But if Walker sticks around and has recurring roles, I'm happy with it. If they finish his story in this series, what did I say?
No, nothing.
I'm okay with that too. I just want Zemo to make it.
Yeah, I think Zemo, there's no choice. He's going to be around.
They keep washing away too many villains. We need
I need more to stick around.
He's not even really like a true villain either. Like, he's at least a dark gray character. Like, in this point, like he even though he does have like a history of being a villain, like they've brought him to life and filled him out a lot more.
Like,
and he was always sort of a great,
well, I mean,
dark gray character anyway.
I was gonna say, because in
Civil War.
Is it Civil War? Yeah, I guess it is Civil War. Yeah, in Civil War, like, the only person he kills is a Hydra agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he killed T'Challa's dad.
Well, yeah, and however many
blew
other
up the
people there.
UN. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Remember, I'll take
framed
it all back.
Bucky. Yeah. He's done some fucked up shit.
He straight drowned that Hydra agent.
Yeah, but
Well,
I can't.
you can't
yeah,
even, like-
he tortured the shit out of him in that
Yeah, he
damn
did.
bathroom sink. That
Yeah,
was
but
awesome.
you can't even say that like killing T'Challa's dad's, like, it's bad or whatever, but it's also good.
But
because it brings out there's a big but, because it brings out Wakanda and puts them into a more active role in the greater
World.
in the greater universe of the MCU, and lets us see and lets us have those experiences with Wakanda, because they're super important players for the safety and security of Earth, and if they would recast,
with Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have
however
any
that's
problems.
got to work out. They just need to recast him, because I feel like it's way too impactful of a society and a culture that could make a difference. Tune in next week for an all new episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good. I like the
good.
hype, man.
Yeah.
The hype was good.
The hype is
was
there.
real.
Yeah. Tune in next week for an all new episode of whatever we're going to review next week.